Yeah, I got a bit by you on Real Life Men in Black, if that's of interest to anyone.
Oh, it is, yes. Get on that.
We were like looking in disbelief at this because we were just like, the fuck?
Apparently the Pentagon actually acknowledged this encounter.
You know, the whole little green man thing?
Yeah.
Where did that stem from?
Hello and welcome to SteegCast, the UFO episode. You join with me, Tom, Sean and Richard as always. Today we're going to be talking about all things UFO related, that's unidentified flying objects. We're going to be taking things a little closer to home and talking some notable Welsh UFO stories, as well as UFO hub of the world, America, with some talk of some presidential knowledge of and various things like that surrounding UFOs, Roswell incident, and you can guess the rest. Here we are, UFOs. This is something that's been on the card for a long time, and I only hope that I do this justice. So thank you for joining us. So first of all, how are we all? It's been a while. What did we do last? What was the last cast we did?
What episodes then?
Oh, the crap episode. So here we are. This is a brand new series of SteegCast then. This episode is the launch of this series.
So he's on force on.
Yeah, any news firstly?
Any news? No, not really. From my end, I turned 31. I guess that's
Congratulations.
some sort of news. Another year around the sun and all that. So.
About the Daily Star recently. In the lead up to this cast, I did some research and things, and this jumped out at me. As you can see, the cover is an edited version, shall we say then, of Vladimir Putin in a classic Star Trek uniform. And the tagline is, "It's intergalactic geopolitics, Jim, but not as we know it." And they're basically saying that Vlad Putin's warmongering has frightened off aliens from visiting Earth. And that is a quote from Britain's top ET hunter there. So I thought that was a nice little story there.
If it was going to be anyone, it was going to be the Russians, though, right?
Well, yeah. Basically, they're saying that aliens fear the wrath of Russia's chief and leader there, basically.
So these beings can fly across the universe in these vehicles, and then they get to Russia in this freezing cold weather, and they're just like, no.
Well, funnily enough, when I was looking into this, a lot of these recent UFO goings on, like more of the military-based ones, apparently are often linked to like nuclear war and stuff, and sort of as if to say like, don't use these nuclear weapons on us, and we won't use them on you, type of thing. That is a regular theme that has popped up when I've been researching into this, and. Especially with the water-based incidents, which I'll be going on to soon, like the sort of Nimitz Encounters and stuff I said about them 3 UFO videos and things. We'll be moving on to that shortly. But yeah, there are links that sort of our nuclear sort of a nuclear war test or whatever and things in the past have sort of put us on the radar then of these entities, these you know.
Have you been watching Twin Peaks, son?
I am actually. No, but
spoiler alert.
That is that, and I thought that was a great little piece that conveniently popped up. Much like when I was doing the other episode, the Farticles newspaper just jumped out at me as well. The Daily Star, God rest it, has always conveniently got a wacky little story relating to something that we are talking about that always pops up around the time.
Newspaper, that's why.
It's great. It's great.
The aliens probably, discovered our internet and found the Vladimir Putin meme of him riding a bay and thought, nah, fuck that place. I ain't going anywhere near that, and just noped the fuck out of there. Like, that's what I reckon happened.
And then you had old Giorgio off Ancient Aliens with the hands. Yeah. I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens. Yeah. So is there anything else anyone would like to add? Because I'm going to jump head first into this topic and
no, crack on, man.
Go for it.
Right, so I'm gonna head to our American cousins first of all. As I say, pretty much the sort of UFO hub of the world, the United States of America. and begin talking about the sort of the presidential knowledge of the whole subject of UFOs and the secrecy around it. I'll start by saying that George Bush Sr. is seen as being the gatekeeper then of all America's UFO secrets, and that's due to being the former head of the CIA at one point, and it's often said that he is the one that is pulling the strings on exactly how much these presidents know. So I'm going to start with President Truman. Now, President Truman is said to be, that's where everything sort of started within withholding information of, and where we begin, really. I mean, everyone, I assume, knows the Roswell story. The summer of 1947, a UFO crashes just outside of the Roswell ranch. Well, a supposed UFO. On July the 8th, the newspapers report that this was an unknown spacecraft crash. UFO bodies were found, recovered, etc. However, a day later, they completely retracted that statement. A bit like the retraction of the fart stories that I mentioned in a previous cast. But yeah, they retracted that statement, and the media and press, and basically it was apparently then nothing more than a weather balloon. Truman decides to keep any information from the public on that. Case closed. And as I say, the official report, even to this day, is that it was a weather balloon. Funny enough, when Bill Clinton got into office in recent years, on the anniversary of, I can't remember which anniversary of the Roswell incident, but Bill Clinton tried reopening that file, and he was immediately shut down on any sort of public knowledge of it. And as I say, it always seems to creep back into sort of George Bush Sr.'s pulling the strings of.
Do you think that he was denied the information, or do you think that he was given the information and then chose to say that he was denied the information as a way to cover it up?
I mean, I don't know if you've seen some documentaries and stuff that I've been watching recently, but there's a quote from Clinton, and he basically says, I don't ever remember him saying this at the time, but he said, if the US government had information on UFOs, then they didn't tell me either.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be a good way to, like...
There's two times that he sort of said that more or less quote as well, and once in later years as well. But you know, was that scripted? Is what you're saying, basically, is it?
Yeah, pretty much. You know, I don't trust any like high-ranking official or fucking president or whatever. But I don't know. I think it's all dodgy. Like,
I have a feeling it's the latter, Tom. I reckon that they know, like they will find out. And basically, the CIA will just go, and this is why we don't tell the public. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, apparently it's for our sort of protection of human interest. And
one of the questions I did have when watching some documentaries on this was, if aliens were real, why, like, if people thought that aliens are real and they weren't, why would the government go to such extremes to cover it up? Why couldn't people just let people believe in Santa, for instance?
That's the question everybody wants to know, I think. Isn't it? That is the sort of question to all sort of UFO interest and researchers, I imagine.
But like, why the big cover up? Why couldn't they just say, oh, you know, whatever to it? Why are they like actively trying to cover it up, setting up? I think it was M17. Was it Majestic?
M12, I think it was. M12. I've been moving on to that. Yeah, I think it was M12. MJ12. Sorry, MJ12. Yeah, MJ12. Which George Bush Sr. is said to be the the top dog of. Like it all links back to him there, and we'll be seeing that as we move along, sort of thing. But moving back to Truman, though, towards the time of his presidency coming to an end, reports and sightings were sort of spotted around Washington DC by civilians. All these reports were coming in. These we didn't have emails then, but phone calls, letters, always coming in. And basically, this led President Truman to have no choice but to address this. And he ordered any sort of unidentified objects or possible, what were seen as threats, basically to be shot out of the sky. And he put together what was known as the Robertson panel in 1953, which was basically, I think is that also referred to as Project Blue Book, quite possibly. I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but they basically spoke of sort of trying to reduce the public's interest in UFOs and manage the public perception of UFOs, and like a spin doctor on it, I guess, and the monitoring of sort of civilian UFO groups and UFO hunters as well was sort of also on the list. It'd sort of be the equivalent if social media was around then. They'd be heavily watching any sort of UFO discussions and groups and things.
I bet they're doing that
brings
now.
about the Streisand effect, though, if you do shit like that, don't it?
But as I say, I think that's also referred to as Project Blue Book. I might be terribly wrong. I'm sorry if I am, but that was the Robertson panel.
Sorry, Tom. What was the Streisand effect? Sorry to jump in.
What is that? Yeah, what was that?
Right, so a paparazzi reporter in a helicopter took a picture of Barbara Streisand's house.
When was this?
Oh, years ago. And
Okay.
she tried to stop people from seeing it. She tried to get it taken down from newspapers, but that only led to more people Googling it and looking it up.
Right.
So it's kind of got the opposite effect.
A bit like that Beyonce photo.
Literally
where,
just about to say
yeah,
that.
She's got the unflattering sort of chin, and it's just taken at a bad angle, like, isn't it? But yeah, I know she didn't want that then, and obviously that probably led to memes and all sorts of stuff. Then it's like, yeah, whereas perhaps would it be better not to say anything?
Exactly.
It shows a fundamental understanding of how the internet works, isn't it? You're just like, please remove this from the internet.
Yeah.
Regards.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Internet.
A bit like some of my musical projects that are probably buried on the internet somewhere. But yeah, that was where it all sort of kicked off. As I was just saying, that's sort of the Truman reign of things. So what I'll do then is I'll move on to 1954. Now, we've got a very interesting story here regarding President Eisenhower. I don't know if you're aware of this one. He disappeared basically for 12 hours in 1954, and he showed up 100 miles away. Now, it was said that he basically showed up at a military ranch, which he used the excuse of he had gone for emergency dental treatment, but he disappeared for 12 hours. And the following day, he shows up 100 miles away in Los Angeles. So he was in Palm Springs. He's in Palm Springs for a low-key vacation, which he didn't tell anybody about. It is said in that time, though, however, that he met with extraterrestrial beings and presences. I don't know if you're aware of that story at all.
Yeah, I know that story. I think this is probably the biggest thing to happen, I think, in terms of the sort of US president side of it, like having, I wouldn't say evidence as such, but in terms of story, it seems to have one of the most important.
Oh yeah, this is the one of the one. But yeah, he disappeared for 12 hours, and it is suggested that he was at. I'm just checking my notes, sorry, but checking Edwards Air Force Base. That's the one I'm looking for, which is about a 2.5 hour drive away from Palm Springs, where he was on vacation to. As I say, he used the excuse that he'd gone for emergency dental treatment in the middle of the night or whatever. But documents show that that base I just mentioned, Edwards Air Force Base, was shut down for 2 days to all incoming personnel, all incoming traffic and everything. And that is the exact same time he disappeared. So basically, he suggested that he had a meeting there with extraterrestrial life during this time, as well as several witness testimonies over the years that suggest that certain deals were struck with Eisenhower in exchange for various types of technology and information from these beings, these entities, these aliens, for want of a better word.
That reminds me of that conspiracy theory that when I was researching the ancient fucking religions and all that shit.
Yeah.
There was this article I stumbled across about Hitler meeting with the Anunnaki.
I didn't know you did that. I didn't know you did that one.
It's all on Wikipedia.
It's on Star Trek, the one with the Archer. captain. The
Enterprise.
his aliens in that who control.
Darmok and Gillard, is it, son?
No, God, no.
I think sorry, just going back to your Eisenhower
Yeah.
story. So, like they said how all flights in and out were shut down from in that particular military base while he was there.
From the 19th to the 21st of February of that year, yeah, which was the exact time he disappeared.
Is that not normal for a president visiting a military base?
Well, that's what I thought as well. But as I say, it wasn't a publicised visit or a known visit. And he wasn't. His whereabouts were unknown. So
But scheduled, is it? Is that what you?
it wasn't scheduled. It wasn't planned, scheduled, or otherwise known or spoken of. But I don't know. But as I say, he said that is where he said to have a meeting and whatnot. And a couple of days later, he actually put out a policy that. Says that any sort of goings on of UFOs or ET interest is a matter of national threat and security, and I've got a quote from the statement he put out to the military. Actually, again, this was in the March of 1954. Then, under no circumstances are the general public or public press to learn about the existence of these entities. The official government policy is that such creatures do not exist, and that is the statement he put out.
That's sketchy in itself. Why didn't he just not say anything?
Yeah.
Well, exactly. To this day, though, is as Richard said, it's a big one amongst all this. To this day, it's thought that Eisenhower was the one that actually did meet with extraterrestrial life, or was heavily in the know of there.
Any technological leaps during that time? Do you know?
I'm not too sure. But as I say, it was like they were supposed to be a trade deal on their technology secrets and things. So you could be onto something there.
You think about it, right? So it hasn't even been 100 years yet, and we've got proper electrical grids. We've got mobile phones that fit in the palm of your hand, the internet, access to all information at pretty much any time. The technology leap from 1954 to now, compared to previous centuries that we've had, it's a huge leap.
Well, yeah, within that time frame, and it's not a massive amount of time if you really think about it.
And not long after that, didn't they have the space race? So, you know, and at that point in time, the technology that was around to the general public anyway was the technology of a wristwatch or a calculator. That was about as far as that sort of stuff went. Yet they sent a rocket into space and landed on the moon. So, it's.
I'd say people in general, this is probably a very stupid thing to say, but they were probably more, on average, I don't know, probably more intelligent, I was going to say, because they don't have the internet to rely on. And have you seen that woman rocket scientist standing next to the stack of calculations she's done? She's 5'5", and the stack of paper is up there, boys.
Up there, boys.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that they definitely did strike a deal and he met with aliens and all that stuff, but if someone's arguing that we didn't see an advancement in technology, then that's totally naive, but this hasn't even been a century yet, and
I'm not saying it's aliens.
Not saying it's aliens, but
there's a meme I saw that was 80% of our time on Earth we spend hitting rocks with other rocks, and the rest is just going to the Mars. It's mind blowing,
Oh, yeah.
Quantum leap.
Yeah.
But I got a bit by here on real life Men in Black, if that's of interest to anyone.
Oh, it is. Yes, get on that.
I've got Edgar Hoover's reign by here. This was around 1956, I believe. But a lot of letters were coming in regarding these instances of Men in Black, sightings of, dealings with, experiences with from the general public. He actually acknowledges and responds to these letters, and he assigned agents to follow up on these sort of reports. So it said that Hoover was already actually concerned that the military was not sharing UFO secrets with him, and it was a topic that expressed a lot of interest within himself. But then it was also thought that perhaps Eisenhower was the one that was keeping these secrets from him, even when handing down the baton, if you will. But he releases a statement to the press, though, the press and the media, that says any so-called men in black are not government agents, and he considered them a threat to the American public. As I said, he assigned a sort of team of agents and stuff to look into this as well, and unfortunately came to no conclusion with, other than disowning the fact that he's had anything to do with the government, or weren't actually.
Is this J. Edgar Hoover you're speaking about?
J. Edgar Hoover, yeah.
I just want to jump in. So J. Edgar Hoover, he wasn't a president. He was head of the FBI.
FBI, yeah, he founded it.
Yeah.
He was the founder.
Yeah, I was, because when you said that, I was thinking, I'm sure he wasn't a president. It was another Hoover was their president, which is Herbert Hoover.
Oh, that's right, Herbert Hoover. Yeah,
you're muddling up, but yeah,
we can jump about on all that.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Who founded the factory then?
What factory now?
The Hoover factory.
Oh, that was a Welsh block, wasn't it?
Bringing it into Wales.
Yeah,
J. Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover basically disowned these men in black as being anything to do with him. As I said, he had agents investigate it as well, take public testimony and things like that. No conclusion was found.
So the men in black, do you think that they're connected to the board that was it Truman set up? What was it called?
The MJ one.
The Robertson
panel.
Do you think that they're an offshoot of that, or just what happened to
Very
them?
Very likely. I think, I mean, I don't want to go into the film bit, but I think they are basically a sort of public cleanup team then of providing a sort of public opinion on these events, and
I dived into these. It was a good few years back. Now we're talking maybe even 5 years ago that I properly went off on one on these men in black, and there's like old testimonies and things of people that had the proper encounters with them, and there's this guy that wrote this pretty good I suppose it's like a memoir about regular visits he used to have from them after saying that he spotted a UFO, and they used to come into his house and he said their skin like right up close, you had to get really close, and he said they were kind of translucent and they were like really pale, and they never blinked, and they never, like, he offered them water and coffee and stuff, they never took any of it, and they were like you'd be around them and they'd like resonate, this kind of thing that just put you on edge, But
possibly like reptilians or
Jellyman.
I mean, if such a thing were to exist, I'm not saying it's reptilians, but
yeah, okay.
It's reptilians. There's also good YouTube videos on Men in Black as well, like really short clips. There's this one about two of them walking into this lobby of a hotel.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that.
That's a good one. There's a couple more as well if you keep digging. I'm interested in that shit. Like,
but I haven't seen many sort of modern day reportings of Men in Black though.
No.
Nothing within the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, to be honest. But
it's by design, son.
Yeah, I know that lobby one. You mentioned.
What's the lobby one?
It was two men in black walking into a lobby, wasn't it? Wasn't there some guy running away from it as well, or am I getting that mixed up?
It's like it's only about a 30-second clip, like of them walking in. But I'm sure if I can find it, Rich could maybe overlay it onto this bit.
Oh yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
I'm going to move on to do President John F. Kennedy now. And when looking into this, a lot of people seem to think that Kennedy's view and look into and dealings with on UFOs are partly the reason why presidents ever since haven't said a word on it. And that's where we sort of go borderline conspiracy on it. But in 1961, Kennedy learns that some Soviet radars were unable to identify some objects within their airspace. And it said that this is a theory, but could UFOs have possibly started an accidental war where UFOs were mistaken for missiles? That is a regular theme as well. But in the November of 1963, a failed spacecraft mission was launched by the Soviets, as in it failed to leave the Earth's orbit. And a couple of days later, Kennedy asks to work with, if NASA could work with the Soviet program on, and he asked the CIA to share documents in exchange with the Soviets regarding UFOs. But his orders and his requests were never carried out. I can only assume he was advised to not be corroborated with, etc. Then 10 days later, as we know, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. So this was on the sort of around and on the eve, on days of him wanting to disclose a lot of UFO secrets and a lot of UFO information, and his links and work with the Soviet on this topic. So yeah, that is one theory, that his untimely death and assassination was linked to the fact that he was going to share and expose a lot of UFO secrets, which is a huge theory, and probably one that heavily interests UFO researchers and anyone into the sort of the conspiracy side of things, and conspiracy-based history.
I learned from this. This is new to me. Sorry, Tom, go on.
No, I was just going to say, so as you know, like, UFO literally means unidentified flying object, so technically he could have been sharing, like, I don't know, like trying to set up like some sort of treaty or whatever, so that them and Russia could like team up against China. If China was sending these unidentified flying objects into Russia's airspace at the time, there's so many variables.
Well,
I don't know.
When President Nixon came in afterwards, an agreement was set. An agreement was set up, basically, right? That it basically is sort of one party then letting the other party know that like this object isn't ours, if that makes sense. There was some sort of agreement set up then. This is obviously after Kennedy's assassination and whatnot. But yeah, basically, like, they were basically saying, yeah, guys, this isn't ours, by the way. You know, we can't identify this. And that was sort of said to have stopped any sort of, or with its aim to sort any sort of confusion or mix-up or any missiles being launched or a war, basically, or anything.
What's to stop him lying?
Yeah, there's a missile coming. Is that yours? Yeah, lol.
No. Who launched that missile then, guys? I will me back.
Troll-based as well.
Basically, though, it was sort of a common ground of saying, look, you know, this isn't ours by you now, and you know, just, that was it, basically.
That's the first time I've heard JFK's assassination framed in a UFO light. Like, it's usually is it Cubans, was it the Mexican, you know, all the stuff, the foreign policy and stuff they had at the time.
It was more I think a lot of it was more to do with his sort of partnership with certain allies and stuff, and a threat of things they didn't want to be known about being widely discussed, perhaps. I mean, I don't know.
Marilyn Monroe did it.
There's some great JFK stuff I've watched over the years anyway, on things and various, like the Babushka lady and things, and
the time travel one with James Franco in was pretty.
That was fantastic. I loved that. Yeah, based on the Stephen King book.
Yeah,
really enjoyed that show.
That was really good.
But moving back onto Nixon. This is a big story. Within all this type of stuff as well. Basically, over a game of golf, he built up a friendship with an actor, Jackie Gleason, at the time, who had an interest in UFOs. And it's said that one night in 1947, Nixon turned up unaccompanied, so with no like security or staff with him or anything, turned up by himself at this Gleason's house, and basically said to him, you know, come for a ride with me. I've got stuff I want to show you. There are things that you need to see that I think you'd enjoy, type of thing. So he drives him to Homestead Air Base, which was a supposed site where UFO crash material and findings were kept. And apparently Nixon is said to have shown Mr. Gleason a number of freezers containing alien bodies. And it said that Gleason was sort of a bit weirded out and not himself for quite some time after witnessing this sort of overwhelming sight, if you will. But
It was from his wife, wasn't it? She said that he didn't eat for a few days after.
After totally, yeah. After joining him on this visit, like he didn't eat for a couple of days, probably didn't sleep and whatnot, and he was affected by it basically. Like,
I don't understand why he would just show a celebrity aliens.
He was a good friend of his.
Why would you do that?
He was a good friend, and he had an interest in it, and he sort of like, come on, I'll show you this type of thing, maybe.
That's like a massive breach of security, mind.
Yeah, that's kind of saying, look, I'm the president by here, and I can make this happen, sort of thing. Yeah, that's that, and
I'd lose my job if I did that.
Well, most people would, but yeah, I don't think there's any other witness testimonies I can find of such, but.
Also worth noting as well that Nixon was he Eisenhower's vice president?
He was Eisenhower's vice president, wasn't he?
So
before.
he would have been present for a lot of the initial talks, if there were any talks, and like he would have had knowledge on anything like that anyway. I think because the vice president probably would have.
I think he was his vice president. I'm sorry if that's a wrong fact. I'm sure I can remember.
I think he is
that though. Yeah, but moving on to Jimmy Carter, not Jimmy Carr, the British comedian with the high-pitched laugh. Moving on to Jimmy Carter, though, this is an interesting key fact here. Let me get this right. Jimmy Carter is the first U.S. president to actually admit to seeing a UFO, and the first president to have an officially recorded written and logged statement of a UFO event. He never went back on his claim either. So, like I said, other stories have sort of gone back on their claim a couple of days and hushed it and dismissed as something else. He never went back on his claim, never changed his story of event regarding such, and always sort of stuck with it. Never sort of allowed himself to be bullied out of changing his story then, if that makes sense. However, he was refused access, and this is going back to the other things I've just been mentioning. He was refused access to any UFO files or any light on such by George H.W. Bush, George Bush Sr., who, as I said earlier, at the time was the director of the CIA. Carter tried his best to release information on such, and all those linked with him, so this would be CIA officials and anybody else, were told in no way to cooperate with the president, and that.
What were they doing in Norway?
What's that? Sorry.
What were they doing in Norway?
Norway. Oh, I got you. Dad joke. Dad joke.
Apologies.
Sean's a dad. He can make jokes like that. It's fine. But yeah, Carter at the time though was the president that people thought would be the one to disclose all this apparently, and was considered. This whole era that was considered a high point in terms of UFO research, as most Freedom of Information requests were released around this time regarding the topic of UFOs, and this is obviously said to be to the fact that he identified with it and personally experienced it himself. But as I say, he was shut out of it by at the time George H.W. Bush.
I think he really wanted to be that president as well.
He wanted to be the one. People thought he would be the one. He wanted to be the one. Yeah, he really did. I get a strong interest in, and he wanted to disclose.
Did he feel like the one? I'm here all week.
Moving on to the Reagan administration. Reagan also had a UFO encounter in 1974 when he was governor of California, and this was during a sort of a campaign rally. During a flight, he saw a series of white objects and lights and stuff. And he also talked of a galactic defense, much like President Trump would in later years with the Space Force. And he launched an anti-missile defense system in 1983 that could apparently destroy missiles in space.
The SDI defense system.
Yeah, again, I think he was kept in the dark somewhat though. But that's another president though that actually admitted to witnessing anything then.
He did keep it quiet though for a little bit, because wasn't he discussing it with a journalist on a plane?
That's right, yeah, on the flight, yeah. And I think she sort of got him to was trying to get him in to say, so you believe in UFOs then?
Yeah.
And he sort of said, well, not quite, but what I seen was certainly quite entertaining, or certainly quite I can't explain type of thing. They were trying to sort of get the bait in for him to say, you know, yeah, I believe in UFOs, I believe in extraterrestrial life, you know, sort of reeling it out of him. And
does he believe in a thing called love?
I didn't catch that one then.
Does he believe in a thing called love? That's got a spaceship on the cover.
Permission to land.
I'm joining all the dots here, man.
Dot connector.
Is it a spaceship or is it a spaceship or is it a?
It's a spaceship.
Aircraft.
It's a spaceship.
And in the I Believe in a Thing Called Love video, it's being humped by an alien, a big octopus.
It is. Yeah.
When was that? About 2003, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
We're really going deep here, aren't we?
Great.
I love how we've got into a conversation about the darkness. Justin Hawkins has actually got a really successful YouTube series at the moment. I mean, Justin Hawkins Rides Again, actually.
It's not that bad.
What's it about? What does it do?
He talks about modern day musicians and like if he thinks they're any good. Basically,
okay.
He gives his honest opinion. To be fair to him, like he doesn't doesn't talk shit for the sake of it. Like, you know,
it's sort of stuff like why is there so much hype around this band? Are they really that good? That kind of thing he looks into and stuff. And
I think one of his latest videos was, "Are the Foo Fighters really that good?"
Yeah, there was two he did on that. Then he did a follow up then as well.
Foo Fighters got a movie coming out.
Oh yeah, there's sort of like a bad movie type of thing.
A horror movie, yeah.
Horror movie,
yeah.
It looks truly awful, and I want to see it.
It's meant to be though, isn't it? It's meant to be like one of them type of things. Yeah, that'd be good. That
I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Doesn't Foo Fighters mean something as well? Isn't that?
Yeah, Foo Fighters is UFO terminology. Yeah,
Foo Fighters UFO terminology for what
we're on to something here, buddy.
Yeah, that's what they were. The name, wasn't it? That was the name of these Foo Fighters. But yeah, MJ12, Tom. MJ12 was what we were talking about. That was apparently linked with George Bush Senior, basically a secret committee that sort of controls all UFO knowledge, information, and just how much is, put around for the government. MJ12, that's what we were referring to. So yeah, I've discussed a little bit about the history there of all the sort of presidents, and we're sort of getting a bit more up to date now. So I'll move things back onto Clinton. So as I said,
Clinton.
He wanted to know more about UFOs. Basically, he didn't hold nothing back on saying that he was kept in the dark. As I said, there's twice that I can find where he's sort of addressed that, and on an anniversary, I'm not sure how many years, I'm sorry, but on an anniversary of the Roswell incident, he reopened the case on the crash. However, it was again dismissed as just being a weather balloon. He said, what about the bodies that were found? And they basically said, well, sir, the only bodies that were found on that site, sir, were that of alien crash test dummies, but crash test dummies then. He said the only bodies that were found in that, sir, were the crash test dummies, and that was it. They was literally just shut down again, that was, and that was in recent years. And I said he's quoted as saying, if the US government didn't know anything on it, then I was kept in the dark too, sort of thing. Which, in a way, sort of made him try and connect to the people more, as if to say, look, well, I don't know either, you know just as much as me here. But as I say, as Tom said, was that purposely sort of said to be like that, was that the whole agenda of people thinking, oh, look, with this guy doesn't know anything, if he knew, he'd tell us, sort of thing. Or was that genuinely the case? And I know he once said that there's possibly somebody sat around keeping these secrets from presidents. That was another quote. He said there's possibly someone sat around keeping the secrets from presidents, and if that's the case, then they succeeded in keeping anything from him. Now, when Obama came in, though, I myself thought that Obama would probably be the one, especially during the end of his presidency, as he come to the end of office. I thought Obama would be the one to sort of release any sort of knowledge on it. I think a lot of people did. I don't know about yourselves there.
He did say he was going to do
Yeah,
it.
I know, yeah.
But he never did.
I feel it for his own sort of public perception, safety, or that was someone pulling the strings there, and it was never mentioned. There was just no sort of he never even went back on his word or never even acknowledged that. It never happened. But I certainly thought that Obama would be the one to say, but it was very clearly never the case. Questions about UFOs at the time, though, came into... you had like a website thing set up, sort of like an Ask the White House Q&A type effort. It was called We the People. Just looking up some of my notes. We the People. And the official subject... the official response to the subject was... The US government has no evidence that life exists outside of our planet, or that extraterrestrial presence has ever had contact or engaged with a member of the human race. Neither is there any evidence of anything being kept from the public eye. And that was it then. It was very clear that that was not something on the cards to ever be discussed. As I say, his time in office came to an end, and myself included thought, well, that's it now then, obviously. So I can remember around the time myself and Richard even having this conversation, maybe all of us even, about he said that he would, share some secrets on it all.
Yeah.
Never came to be.
Yeah.
Brother was talking wet, son.
There was that video of him, which this day is great, where he sort of catches the fly. Remember that? Remember that video? Effortlessly cool, like.
Perhaps he caught it because he's a lizard.
Say what you want about Obama. He's probably one of the more likable presidents they've had.
Also had a great singing voice as well. There's a lovely version of him doing Al Green's Let's Get It On. Is it? Yeah, possibly. Yeah. There's a
great president. Invade anyway. Hell of a boy.
You had a lovely voice on him.
Hell of a boy. Drone strike anyone.
I think every president has, haven't they?
Probably, yeah.
More than I.
Didn't Trump just drone strike the Iranian general out of nowhere?
Yeah, that was a successful mission.
We're fucking that bag, like.
Nice. Now, where were we?
Like moving on to Trump though. Trump was a strange one on this subject. I mean, he talked about like Space Force. He talked about Space Force and stuff. But like the only thing I could really ever find that Trump had ever addressed UFOs was when he said a lot of people are saying they've seen sightings of UFOs. A lot of people, and he's like, do I personally believe it? Not particularly, and that's about all I could find on him.
I'm pretty sure he had to say that half of his demographic is like right-wing Christian nuts.
Yeah.
So he's got to deny aliens and that fact.
If any of you know anything Trump-related UFO-wise, by all means fire away. But I can't find anything.
No, nothing.
I don't. During his presidency, I don't really remember anything standing out regarding that. Or
it's funny, but of all the things that Trump did when he was president to rile everyone up, he didn't do anything about UFOs.
No. But again, during the end of his sort of reign, we were like, oh, will he share some secrets on stuff? And but I think that got overshadowed with you know what's coming here with. Will he release Joe Exotic? That became the thing because a lot of people thought he would pardon Joe Exotic, and there was like a bus waiting outside. I've seen some of that Tiger King 2 thing actually, and there was a bus they had waiting outside, for his release and everything, and everybody seemed to be under the impression that
even he was under the impression, wasn't he?
Yeah. Everybody seemed to think that he pardoned Joe Exotic, and the day came and nothing happened. And I mean, the only sort of reference to him even mentioning that was it was brought up in a press conference, and he's like, Joe Exotic, I'll look into that. And it was sort of, that was it then. But everybody seemed to say there's a huge bus there waiting for Joe. There were all these campaigns set up and celebrations set up, and it never happened. But that amongst UFO secrets, and then that was Trump. Then he was done with. So yeah, it was.
I like when he was announcing his Space Force idea.
Space Force.
And like how he kept going back, like, we've got the Air Force, but this is Space Force. It's in space. And it's like, oh my God, like, come on.
It was great.
What's wrong with you? Just his explanation of it, like.
But I think he's one of the only presidents to sort of never really have a public opinion on UFOs. Maybe that was a safe game to play, though. Perhaps.
I don't think Lyndon Johnson or Gerald Ford, I don't think had anything either. I think they kind of passed it by as well.
During the time of going to cast with this, there's a Netflix thing that's just launched as well. But if this had come a bit later, I probably would have checked that out at some point. But UFOs will forever be relevant, though. That's the thing. It's always relevant. You release something UFOs and people automatically are attracted to it. It's always of interest and it's always fascinating. I think it's one of many topics that is always relevant and always forever changing and culturally relevant.
Well, I mean, look at Tom DeLonge, Blink-182. He's probably one of the most famous examples of like a famous person being interested in UFOs and actually investigating it. You know,
that's a beautiful lead-in, because we can lead into Tom DeLonge, because I'm going to speak about the Nimitz Encounter, which were a series of 3 videos. I don't know if you read it. It's called Nimitz because that was the name of the aircraft carrier. But there were 3 videos that were released recently, 2019. But the original videos are from 2004. But I don't think it was until all the Tom DeLonge side of things came about that it was publicly sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
Released?
Disclosed.
Yeah. But
where are you?
Yeah, in October 2017, an organisation called the Black Vault, though, forces government to declassify information regarding UFOs, and Louis Elizondo, who actually later went on to work with Tom DeLonge, was involved in his To the Stars Academy, as well as the show that Tom DeLonge had on History, possibly Unidentified. But he reported he resigned. This is where it all sort of comes in. Then the story comes in. He resigned as his position within a secret Pentagon program due to lack of support in the field and being kept in the dark too much. Around that time, 3 videos were released that the Pentagon at the time remained silent on. But this Louis Elizondo released this footage to press and media, and a New York Times story was reported around this time, and various US Navy men come forward on sort of witness testimonials then of these events. The videos are again referred to the Nimitz Encounter, the Nimitz being the name of the aircraft carrier, strange readings, and a series of unidentified objects were spotted on radar. You can find these videos. They are in the public eye as well.
I believe part of it is actually in our thumbnail for this video.
Yeah.
So,
this Louis character basically went public on it and explained this could be a threat to national security. Even press releases and these were put out there basically. Apparently, though, these were unmanned objects. And they say that no human would ever have sort of survived the G-force. There are talks of these being artificial intelligence and drones. Even talk of other areas of the military testing out. You know what I mean? The military themselves. Yeah. So was the military testing against its own technology type of things? And as I said earlier, there were even talks about how has nuclear explosions sort of put us on the map and the radar of these UFOs and entities, and is this a warning to get rid of weapons, don't use them on ourselves and don't use them on them. But yeah, as I say, this Louis character then later become involved with Tom DeLonge. He's actually not a part of To the Stars anymore, I found out recently the other day, but he was very much involved with former Blink-182 guitarist and singer and current Angels and Airwaves frontman Tom DeLonge. These videos then, a lot of credit went to Tom DeLonge and obviously his team for getting the Navy to publicly disclose these videos and say, yeah, these are real. Tom became involved with this Louis and a circle of other credible and notable contacts within. He went from being some guy singing about dick jokes and farts or whatever to being a real credible source within the UFO community to this day. And he is now a very respectable UFO researcher, as well as releasing books and documentaries. And the contacts he's got there is top dog. Like he's very credible. At one point, people laughed at him. They called him crazy. They called him mad. And then these videos were disclosed, and it's sort of like, oh right, okay. People, those press that once ridiculed him, were now sort of praising him and stuff. As the press generally does change, they sort of exactly.
What happened to Angels and Airwaves? Is that still going?
Still going, yeah. Still touring. Still releasing music.
I think as long as Tom DeLonge is alive, that band will be going.
It's sort of it's more than just a band. It's sort of like an art piece. It's sort of it's everything. It's movies are spawned from it and things, and all sorts of media from it.
So what really annoys me about this whole UFO thing is it's very America central. Like, it's everything we know about UFOs always comes from America. America is the center of the world.
It's the UFO hub, as I say.
And it annoys me because the world is a big place, and if they were going to land anywhere, if UFOs visited, right, like, and they were going to land anywhere, they would probably land in the biggest landmass, right, which is probably somewhere like Europe, I would imagine, like between Russia and, like, was it Russia and Italy and all that area around that
out to Mongolia, like
or even near China, you know.
I'd say the more like fauna dense places, or like the more populated places they go visit at least.
With this Nimitz encounter though, they reckon that these crafts, if you want to call them that, they reckon that they are I can't think of the word, but sort of can adapt and fly at high speed through both land and water. That's what they're saying with them. There's always a sort of water connection with them, always in that sort of area.
Craft beer, is it, son?
Remember that time that I was talking about underwater aliens and everyone had a royal good laugh?
Yeah.
Remember that time?
That's why
this is rising, is it, son? The dawn of Aquarius. Cthulhu dawn, son.
Like there was a British version. As I said, I know Rich was talking about American Central and stuff, but this is the part of the cast where we sort of get a little bit closer to home. Even very close to home, just around the corner, and will be coming up shortly. But there was a British sort of version in 2016 of very similar technology, very similar footage encounter to this Nimitz. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, by the way.
I prefer the British version. It's grittier. It's more realistic.
Well, footage was released on social media from the West Yorkshire Police. I can remember this vaguely. It was sort of like police helicopter footage showing images, footage, if you will, very similar to them videos that I mentioned there. Basically, are these things capable of land, sea, and water? I say that they apparently were unmanned as well. So, what if they were drones? What if there is someone playing us? Like there is.
Could just be. Is there a chance there could be like alien probes? Just because it doesn't necessarily have to have aliens inside it, does it? It could just be like an alien craft, like an alien drone, for example.
Yeah, unmanned apparently. But,
a reconnaissance craft, like.
Yeah, these were in this was on the Bristol Channel. So, like I said, there's always a sea. There's always a sea and water based link to these. This was somewhere on the Bristol Channel in 2016, but again close to home. But that was the UK version of it, and And apparently the Pentagon actually acknowledged this encounter, and well, they low key admitted there's something. Yes, they low key admitted that footage was legit.
Yeah.
In 2020.
I wonder, like going off what you just mentioned there about the Pentagon acknowledging that. I wonder, like, do the American government, when they hear of other things happening, like UFO sightings around the world, do they contact the government of that country and be like, "What the fuck's going on here?" Then
I'd imagine so. I'd even imagine that there is one complete sort of link altogether of people that are all connected to this.
You think like a sort of UN sort of for UFOs?
Absolutely. I'd
say quite the opposite, because nothing ever happens anywhere other than America.
There was a thing, AAITP, I think it was, Advanced Airspace Intergalactic Threat Program. That exists somewhere. I can't remember the sort of who's pulling strings on there, but that was that is something.
Wasn't that for Reagan? Didn't Reagan try to introduce that? Because he was fighting off things from outer space. That's what he wanted to do.
Quite possibly. My things are getting mixed here, but
I think it was Reagan. But yeah, from what I've looked at online, like I do say it is annoying to see like America gets all the attention when it comes to UFOs, but there's a lot of like Spanish and Portuguese sightings of alien Nordics. There's tons of them. There's tons of them.
and they are actually more enjoyable in many ways because they're less sort of dramatised when told. And
very bad cameras though. That's the problem. It's always shaky. You know.
Well, I saw. Before I go on, I'm going to bring things lovelily back into Welsh UFO sightings as we sort of near the end of all this, but I saw, and this is apparently quite a popular area. And, well, again, sea-based. When I was in the area of the sort of Gower area, is it Peninsula area? It's called Llangennith sort of area of Wales. I saw a UFO. I've seen a UFO at the time though. I may as well have filmed with a microwave or something because phones were like sort of that grainy sort of phone camera look. And the phone I had at the time was not capable. I did somewhere have UFO footage. I was camping out in the wilderness down there. Well, not the wilderness, but down near the that area at the time. Beautiful area. Has won many awards for its lovely beaches and course or whatever. But it was a late evening, and I saw a white object sort of across the sky like that across the sky, and I can remember other people around at the time was sort of going, look at that up in the sky or whatever, you know. It was seen, it was saw, everyone was looking at it, we were watching it and things. And I had a potato phone at the time, and I filmed it, but it's pointless.
I will say there's a lot of military stuff in the Gower.
It could well be, could well be. I think many people have said about seeing stuff down that area. It's a lovely sort of open area, and it's a beautiful area, but
many a time have I been waltzing along the beach in absolute solitude, and then two like fucking jets.
It's just like
in the middle of the night you get like, you know, the relaxing sound of like guns going off.
I know you visit that area a lot yourself, don't you? So I mean, it could well be. I don't, but that's my only sort of main experience of it.
It could have been incredibly hench seagull, for all you know.
Well, yeah.
They land on the roof of the caravan sometimes in the night, and it's always fucking loud as fuck.
A bird shit on my head once, and at the time I was wearing sort of people used to have like gel and stuff in their hair back then. Some people still do perhaps, but I had gel in my hair at the time as well, so it wasn't as if like it was sort of an easy brush off. It got entwined with the sort of gel I was wearing and stuff. Oh, it was horrendous. But yeah,
good luck, son. Did something good happen to you after that?
Yeah.
So UFO?
Not really. No, not really.
Well, can I interject? I've been shot on twice.
On the head?
By a crow, and by both times on the head. By one time it went down the side of my head like this. The first time was a crow, and the second time was a seagull, and the seagull shit was enormous. It was like all down my face. And that was in, I want to say Lyme Regis or some obscure South England seaside town. But
did it happen to you in Orchard Park as well?
It did, yeah. That was the second time. That was the first time actually when we were
too tall. Too in line with the sky. That's what that is.
They
fly right into my face.
I've had a couple of close calls where it's like splattered next to me on like pavement or something.
Yeah.
Never landed on me. I did have when I was younger. I was in the kitchen and my dad walked in. He was like, "Rich, can you do me a favour? Can you wipe the bird shit off my back?" So I had to fucking squirt the bird shit off my dad's back because he was sunbathing out the back and the bird just completely shat his back. Like
the second time it happened in Lyme Regis with the seagull. He was told, "Oh, it's good luck. Don't worry. Just suck it up. You'll be fine." We went into a really old like sit-down fish and chip shop, which they have in like seaside places.
Oh, lovely!
They still do. And I then proceeded to literally choke to death on a chip, on like a little, the little scrappy ones, the ones stuck in my throat, and I genuinely thought I was gonna die. I was like coughing my guts up everywhere. Everyone was looking at me. I was like, this is gotta be like one of the worst days ever. But we were just talking about how lucky I'm gonna be now, and then I literally nearly died. So
you were lucky you didn't die. Lucky you didn't die. Maybe
that's it. That was my time.
Yeah.
That was my time.
Exactly. Maybe if the bird didn't shit on you, you would have died.
Could well be, yeah.
That's the luck. Like.
Could well be.
Boring story that was. Well, that did happen. Yeah.
So, have any of you ever seen anything sort of unexplainable in the skies at all? Or
yes.
Well, being from the valleys, there's a shitloads of fucking stupid lights and fucking weird stuff happening up on top of mountains and stuff you can't quite see. And you think, what is that? Is that some Muppet in a Land Rover, or is it like?
Well, that's the thing. We've got mountains around us. You
don't know. You don't know. Yeah. So nothing concrete, but I'll let you guys talk. Sorry.
My experience, and I know Gareth knows this one pretty well because I've told him a few times. Was when I was younger in town in Merthyr in McDonald's.
Oh yeah, this is great. It's not UFO as such, but this is great.
It's not UFO, but it's weird. It's
very
this story. Strange. But
I love it.
Me and one of my friends, we were in McDonald's eating, and a guy came in, massive, huge, like fat guy. You could tell he was fat as well. It wasn't like stuffed pillows or whatever. He was genuinely a fat guy. Because like he's this type of guy that walks in and you notice him, because he was wearing that. I think it was a red jacket and stuff. So.
Was it Santa Claus by any chance?
No, it wasn't Santa Claus, no. But yeah, you notice him. So, like, we saw him walk past us, and go into the toilet. And we're like, all right, And carried on eating, carried on chatting. 5-10 minutes later, guy in exactly the same clothes walks out of the toilet, skinny. And, he didn't have any bags with him or anything like that, if he was wearing some sort of fat suit. He couldn't have stuffed it anywhere. But he was skinny. He was the same clothes. And me and my friend were just like, we were like looking in disbelief at this because we were just like, the fuck? Just like, and we just couldn't explain it. It was like,
well, I've got two explanations for it.
Go on, then.
Rapid weight loss.
I've forgotten the second one already. The first one is that him and some other bloke had some brutal gay sex in the toilet cubicle. And swapping clothes on the way out was like some sort of weird fetish thing. The second explanation is he was Shang Tsung.
Is he what?
Come again?
He was Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, right. I never played Mortal Kombat. But,
you're missing out.
No, I was a Tekken guy myself, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's the obvious one that he just shit it all out, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the conclusion we came to, but we were like, no one can shit that much and lose that much weight in so little time.
Don't think it works like that, does it?
It doesn't, no. But yeah, that was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, honestly.
What you witnessed was a shapeshift.
It was a shapeshift, yeah. And to this day, like, I'll die on the hill that something weird happened. This
Yeah.
Strange, man. Yeah.
Was there many other witnesses around?
Everyone else didn't seem to notice. This is the thing.
Everyone's in their own bubbles. See, that's the problem. Everyone's in their own world half the time.
And this is at a time where, I don't know, they were mobile phones, but they weren't like,
potatoes.
They weren't. Yeah, they were exactly. And you could play Snake on it. That was about it. And everyone wasn't playing Snake all the time on their phones. So we were actually having a conversation and taking in our surroundings.
Yeah. Like old days.
Like the old days. Yeah. It's that's just sticks in my mind.
It's not like everyone was glued to that brutal create your own ringtone. Difficult.
You type numbers in like 122 and you'd have like Linkin Park's in the end playing or something.
Polyphonic ringtones.
They were just notes. Monophonic, actually, but they were.
There was two. There was two. There was monophonic and polyphonic.
Yeah, monophonic was the one you type in because it's just one melody, mono, and then the polyphonic one was the ones which had like drum beats and stuff in the background of it.
Basically MIDI, wasn't it?
MIDI, yeah, essentially.
Remember when you'd have adverts on the telly for like ringtones and stuff, and you'd have like newspaper clippings of ringtones and stuff. How mental is that? Looking back, imagine the youth today now, looking at that and being like, what the hell? Like people used to do that.
You could send off like pixelated backgrounds. Funny enough, I had one of these dudes joining the dots. I had one of these, and they said, "Take me to your dealer."
You're like on the 3210s and stuff, and around that time, you'd have like a band logo as your little thing on the screen and stuff.
Or cannabis leaf.
I remember.
It's insane.
I was the first person amongst my friends to have a phone that could play MP3s, and we were playing. We just finished playing a football match, and we were in the dressing room. And my phone goes off, and my ringtone at the time was the chorus to Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day. And everyone just looks at me dumbfounded. Be like, the fuck is that?
What is this technology?
Yeah, exactly. And they were just like, oh my God, you can play MP. I was like, yeah. But like, I'm one of those people, and I'm sure like some of you were as well, where you knew that you could plug a phone into a computer and cut stuff down, and you didn't have to pay stupid money to get ringtones. You can just transfer them over. So I would do that in the house. I wouldn't pay for them. Like,
I remember being blown away by the power of infrared, transferring stuff via infrared.
Trying to balance them with books and shit. Get on the same level.
I miss the days when you used to go to Merthyr Market to get a sick new tribal case for your 3310.
Not that I needed it.
Switch out the back. Like, I used to have a case covered in snakes. It was so shit.
Christ, son.
Yeah, brutal, man.
I had a Welsh dragon case I did on my 3310.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's one step down for having the free feathers on the front of your house.
So what do you guys, just to reel this back in a bit, what do you guys reckon is the reason that we don't know about aliens?
Aliens.
Protection of public mass hysteria, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right, to be honest.
Don't you think people are kind of over that by now?
Yeah.
Why do you think people would react badly?
Have you seen how people are reacting to vaccinations and like the current situation of the world? I don't trust people. People are awful, and I think information, like suddenly telling them, oh yeah, by the way, there's a planet that's light years away from here, and they visit us on a regular basis, and they have technology that's out of this world. People would be like, oh my God.
Yeah, but I went to Ibiza the other day. So I went to Magaluf last week.
I just don't think people are trusted. So. Sorry, Sean.
That's all right, man. It's a quote that's been said hundreds of times. It's like an alien presence unites Earth as a.
Reagan
Earth,
said that. I think it was Reagan.
You know, it was Reagan. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But it's like it then. I don't know. Does it cause? I don't know. People don't want that, do they? That's not good.
There's too much money in war.
Exactly.
I reckon the prison planet. I reckon with the way a lot of presidents and things have like reacted to the news of the classified stuff. You know, they've been said to have like had their head on, crying and all that after learning about it. And, like that celebrity.
Well, yeah. Look at that actor when he was shown them things like it deeply affected him clearly. Like
I think that lends credibility to possibly even prison planets. I like that theory. I do.
Prison planet.
That we are kind of held as a prison planet and we're not allowed to leave, and we're like harvesting rare metals and shit for these other beings.
I
never thought of that.
I thought you were going along the lines of the prison planet, like in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 for a second. It was just like a prison for every race, yeah.
No, I get what Tom's saying. I totally get him.
Yeah, I get what he's saying.
Yeah,
so.
We're in a sector that's purposely kept in the dark for X reason by an international, a universal, like, superpower or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it'd be
Those
cool.
Muppets over there don't even know the rest of us exist, you know?
Yeah.
There's a scene in the first season of Futurama where they go back to Roswell, and to mark the occasion of aliens first visiting the planet, we've got this crack job photographer that takes pictures that no one will ever understand to mark the occasion. That's kind of sums it up really of what they think of people. So, but another question is, the whole little green man thing.
Yeah.
Where did that stem from? Like, who first conjured up this image? Like in Sean's background, for example. Like,
Sean sent us. Sean sent us a little video the other day, didn't he? Where there was that little man sort of. Remember on a CCTV?
That was in my recommended videos.
Yeah, the little alien
UFO
on
video.
CCTV.
Did you read the
like Dobby.
Did you read the comments on that video?
No.
So everyone was like, "Do you see how they're dismissive of it? Obviously, it's real." And I don't know if people were joking or not, but that was the string of comments going down. And the thing is, you look at the video and you just think, "Oh, come on!" Like, I can believe certain things. Like, you would be naive to think that we're alone in the universe. Like, there is definitely life other than us in the universe.
Of course there is.
You want to hope, don't you?
Yeah. And that, like you said, just like a Dobby.
It was very well put together, though.
What I've got behind me is actually an album cover, a terrible album cover by a band called Hypocrisy, a death metal band, and it's called The Arrival. The Arrival, the album's called, and this is the cover. What they were thinking, I will never know. But
that is great.
But yeah, like, where did this image come from? Of these little green men. So they had, like, everything is influenced by something, right? So
I would say, do you know we were talking about like America's influence on everything? I would say it's very much that is
hypocrisy, not hypocrisy. Sorry,
no problem. I would say the little green man has come in from things like the Roswell incident, where you like all around that area you've got these little shops and they're sort of selling T-shirts and mugs and hats and stuff with that sort of little green man face on and stuff like that, from a merchandising point of view.
I think
it's
what
coming
Rich
from
is
that,
saying
from an American merchandising point of view.
Who designed the Greys?
There's a big bit on the Greys in David, like, he calls them the Greys.
The Greys, that's right, yeah.
It's just like a sensationalist, like, cartoonized version of the Anunnaki, essentially, I think. But I think we're going. That goes off into a different tangent. Let's not go down there.
It would be interesting to find, though, the first sort of record of these images being drawn up or presented. Or I personally don't know myself. Like, we're talking, like, what kind of year or what kind of decade that these sort of perceptions and these characters came about. I don't know. Maybe the 60s, maybe around the time of Roswell and things.
I found it on Wikipedia if you wanted me to read that out.
By all means, yeah, by all means.
What, have they got where the actual little green man thing comes from?
The origins, yeah. So the origins of grey aliens may go back to the late 19th century in 1891. A novel, Meda, A Tale of the Future, was published by Kenneth Follingsby, in which the narrator encountered small grey-skinned aliens with balloon-shaped heads. In 1893, H.G. Wells presented a description of humanity's future appearance in the article The Man of the Year Million, describing humans as having no mouths, noses or hair, with large heads. And it's just kind of gradually built off that depiction thereon.
They're not a million miles away from, like, the elves you're supposed to see when you do DMT.
The Clockwork Elves.
Yeah.
I got him.
People controlling the fabric of the.
It's my Tinder profile.
Great.
That's some spooky looking
Clockwork Elves. Yeah. Apparently they behind the curtain, and they the Clockwork Elves. Interdimensional beings. They'll eat your face.
Kind of looks like Megamind, or
It does, yeah.
or what's the Marvel one? One of the Hulk's villains. What's his fucking name? I can't remember his name. It's gone. Green, big
fastest
head.
cake in the world, son.
But yeah, it's just because I had a theory that it could have come from, if there was a meeting, then they were, because they said that there were guards there as well during that meeting, and they would have been sworn to secrecy. But what's to say that they didn't leak something to someone that says, yeah, you know, they look like this, or even Jack Gleason in what he saw, he may have described it to someone, and then they run with it.
I know he told the wife.
Missus,
he told the wife.
Yeah.
He told the wife. Yeah.
So,
Jackie Gleason, like of all people. I didn't know that until today. I genuinely learned that, and it was new to me. I was. Boy.
I'm gonna steer back things back in because we are all Welsh. In case anyone didn't know, for the benefit of the tape, for the benefit of those watching, listening, we are a Welsh podcast. We are all based in and around the South Wales valleys. So I'm going to bring back I'm going to reel things back nicely into some things a little closer to home, shall we say. So let's talk about the Welsh Roswell. As I say, I've been doing the actual things, so your American versions and your little British versions. As I said, but I did the Nimitz, I did the Bristol version of it, the British Channel version of it. So now we're going to talk about the Welsh Roswell. There is a Welsh Roswell, which is Die Roswell.
Well.
It's a good God, man! What the devil is that? But yeah, we're going to talk about the Welsh Roswell. This is in the Berwyn Mountains now, which is outside of Llangollen. Now, I watched the History Channel thing on that, where Giorgio from Ancient Aliens visited, and the way they pronounce Berwyn is incredible. I can't remember exactly how they say it, but it does not sound like Berwyn at all.
Sandreesloe, Wales, January 23rd, 1974. Late in the evening, this quiet rural village in the Berwyn Mountains is rocked by an enormous explosion.
no.
I was watching World's Strongest Man the other day, and there was a guy in there from Caerphilly. They kept calling it carefully. They said, last time he almost dropped something on him. Hopefully this time he'd be a bit more carefully.
But
no.
I just say,
No.
you know shit is real when you've got the Ancient Aliens guy coming to visit you. That's all I can say. If there was ever any sort of doubt in credibility of your series of events or sightings, if that guy shows up, that, you know what I mean, that's the icing on the cake. So yeah, he showed up, Giorgio. I believe that's his name. I hope I'm calling the right name.
I'd rather Tom DeLonge show up, to be honest with you. I think he's more credible than a guy from the media.
Yeah, where are you?
Yeah, I don't know if you're being sarcastic there or not, Carl. I'm not too sure.
But yeah, the History Channel showed up to this Berwyn Mountains, and they called the place a ranch, actually, where it's just like a little Welsh farm. But yeah, this is sort of like Llangollen sort of area, I believe. But in January, I'll give you the January 23rd, 1974. Let's take us back to the Berwyn Mountains. An enormous explosion was felt, huge explosion, a thud, and a vibration, with pretty much most residents, with not only that area but the surrounding areas as well, all witnessing a big bright light that fell from the sky and hit a nearby mountain, and a huge glow was given off from this mountain area, which it hit. And I say, it all sort of linked back to this sort of this farm, sort of little farm sort of area, which the Americans called a ranch. But yeah,
did you see that, Di?
What's that?
No, I didn't. What was that? Did you see that then, Di?
God alive.
What was that, Di? Think it was something we should worry about? No.
But yeah, but this bloke who speaks in the History Channel interview of obviously he was a lot older then, but he was 14 I think at the time, and he was watching the telly and whatnot, and he witnessed this. Many local people all witnessed this. So, but yes, that is believed to be much like Roswell. That's believed to be a crash site, and that UFO findings or whatever was very quickly retrieved and taken away. Various excuses sort of were given, as bizarre as lamping or like hunting and things, that was given as an excuse, really. But yeah, it's a well-known story, and I say the fact they've got the Ancient Aliens gentleman there, that's added some much more interest to it all. But I hadn't heard about this Welsh Roswell myself till quite recently.
What was the other one? The more recent one.
That's what we're talking about. Yeah, we move on to that.
Well, the one from that bedtime stories.
No, Pentyrch.
Yeah. So over like Tower Greenway.
That is all coming, son. That is all coming in just a few seconds.
My apologies.
What I liked about that one on the History Channel though was the fact that when they were all talking, the only one who had subtitles was the Welsh guy. Even
the Welsh guy, was the Welsh guy. There's not a like the Pentyrch one seems a lot more popular though amongst this community, the UFO community and stuff. There's not a great, even though it's considered the Welsh Roswell. Me personally, I couldn't really find a lot on the sort of what was seen itself or whatever, really. But other than the sort of the thing crashing in the glow of the craft and everything.
It was featured in season 12 of Ancient Aliens, so they were probably scraping the barrel by the time they sent him out to Wales.
Yeah, maybe.
Me and all other 6 people in the village saw it.
Unless anyone else has got anything.
I don't know.
Unless anyone else has got anything to add on that particular Welsh Roswell incident, I haven't really. I'll be honest with you.
I think the Men in Black got to it first, but
yeah, it seems as though it very quickly happened with this one at least, and like the other one sort of dragged on a bit more, the Pentyrch, which we'll be getting on in a bit now, and even days before with the Pentyrch when like certain military presences and stuff were spotted as if they almost knew it was coming. But as for this Bedroom Mountain ones, that just seemed to have very quickly happened, very quickly covered up, and I can't find any statements on that. I mean, maybe I need to delve further, but we'll move on.
They're like the Kingsman. They're like the Kingsman, where they have different offices around the world, and it's just the British section of the Men in Black that got to it first. I reckon there is probably, if you're gonna go say like the Men in Black thing exists, of people like stopping shit doing that, they gotta have different sects of it, from like the US to the UK, Germany, Russia.
As I say, it's probably a series of people who are all regularly in connections with each other and ready to pounce on any sort of any of these events that happen, and very quickly will be at the scene, and will very quickly shut it down, and will very quickly shuffle public interest away from. Absolutely, it's got to be. But yeah, I'll move on because it's been building me on for quite a while. I'll finally move on to this Pentyrch incident, which is in my eyes far more interesting. So Pentyrch is, as you know, very close to where I live, very close to where you live. It's sort of just outside the village of Clantrasant. So yeah, in 2016, military helicopters were seen circling the town, and as I said, a day or two before, they were also a sort of presence spotted there as well, as if they almost knew this was coming. This was soon joined by other planes and aircrafts, as well as on the ground presence, and this went on for many hours during the nights. So the military was basically seen to be chasing a target to the sky. A sort of a green ball, a green object, if you will. Red oval objects formed a pyramid foundation above the hill of the Smilog Woods area, and this sort of hovered for a while there until I believe helicopters approached. Now that area, to this day, where that red triangle was seen, is referred to as the bald patch. It's still bald patch. Nothing has grown back since. If we were to go there now, it would still look like that. And there is high readings of strong electromagnetic activity to this present day. No one can really explain, but yeah, during that evening, many reports and calls came into police or press, media, whatever as well. with houses said to be physically shaken. Residents were very clearly distressed, upset, even thinking, are their families in danger? We're talking like hundreds of calls. It was simply passed off, however, as a military training exercise, and to this day the Ministry of Defence have declined to cooperate. All sort of freedom of information requests have been denied, or any sort of look into has been denied. And I've watched some witnesses and some testimonies of what people have seen and stuff, and they said like in no way was that a military training exercise. These huge aircraft, I think it was about four planes or something, was spotted as well in the sky. But they all seem to be chasing these helicopters. Seem to be chasing a green object across the sky. And I mean, we're talking hundreds of people saw this all throughout that evening. It went on for hours, as I say, and I think there might even have been leaked. What's the word I'm looking for? When you call the emergency services, the sort of the hub or the
transcript,
the control room. Then I think there were calls. I think there were leaked calls even of people very, very clearly heavily distressed by this incident. And I just say I think 1 or 2 days before there was like a helicopter spotted in one of the fields near this Smilog Woods and stuff. But yeah, this seems to be a much more going on incident though than the Barren Mountains thing. Not to discredit that event, of course, but a lot of people saw this, and it is very widely regarded as a credible thing. Like,
if you're going to chase a UFO, I think a helicopter is probably a really inefficient way of doing it.
It wasn't just helicopters though. It was you name it, it was
fighter
there.
Jets
like
and stuff.
Yeah, you name it was there. Jets and yeah, you name it. I don't think it was the helicopters. Perhaps they were even chasing. Probably, as you say, there were all sorts of military presence there. But it seemed as though they knew this was coming though, because things were a bit weird, and weird things were spotted 1 or 2 days before. But I love this story, and as I say, Pentyrch is really close to us. There's a venue there actually as well. I haven't been there yet, but I'm going there I think in March. Flock of Seagulls is playing there.
It's that random like community hall thing.
Acapella Studios, yeah. I don't really know Pentyrch very well, but I know this is. I'd love to visit there. I said to Richard, maybe we even still will, as a segment even it could be, but. Yeah, the Smilog Woods area. In that area, to this day, apparently, there's still no growth there, nothing. And I think National Resources Wales, is it, were contacted and be like, what's happening with this area by here? And I think they said there was some sort of thing that affects trees or whatever was the reason that they culled some of the trees down since and cleaned it up a bit and chopped it on a bit. But I don't think anything has grown back there. And they say people have done readings there even now, and it's never been the same since. As I say, I'd like to go and have a little look there. It's mad. It's something so close. I not that much in the know of. Like, I can only assume that people thought they were in some severe amount of danger. Perhaps. I mean, yeah, I totally get that.
It's like
honestly, I probably would have slept through the whole thing. I'll be honest, that's what I would do.
It's kind of like this ties in with it. Really, is War of the Worlds, when he was on the radio and people thought that they were actually being invaded by aliens because the radio was doing the War of the Worlds. It probably would have been like that, kind of, I imagine.
So, like, I mean, I was thinking about this. I know you said that America is got a lot going on, but you'd be surprised with Wales. There are two very big stories there. We've got a Welsh Roswell, and we've got this other crash in Pentyrch as well. So, and they're not too far away from us. So it's pretty cool that we have got these really big notable events then, I think, as well.
Right, did the Drakeford Sun see if he'll release the papers?
Yeah. we can perhaps mention Area 51. But that the I was just saying we were saying off camera earlier the Naruto run that never happened. Much like a corny 2012 type thing. Apparently, after like millions of people joining various Facebook groups and social media and stuff. Only 150 people actually turned up on the day to this Let's Storm Area 51. I believe it was called. But
you'd have to be absolutely mental to do that, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
the military said.
Look what happened to the Capitol building.
Yeah, the military said if anyone does actually cross those lines, they're going to shoot them.
Yeah,
and they will not hesitate to shoot.
It was it was called. I'm just looking now. It was called Storm Area 51. They can't stop all of us, and it was in September of 2019. It was scheduled
they
for.
They will.
Yeah, but
it's kind of funny because apparently there's nothing even in Area 51. There's another like secure bunker like further up the road where the actual shit is kept apparently. So even if they got in there, they'd just be like, I don't know, a bit of rust on the floor or something.
Well, why the secrecy around what is
red herring, son?
What is going on? Is it a front? Is it a front to throw them off something else? Isn't it? More
red herring,
as you say.
I've seen Independence Day, and I've played the Area 51 level and Tomb Raider 3, and there's nothing really there. No. You know, just a lot of lasers and stuff. You know. You know,
like if you what's the word I'm looking for? Mold the public's interest into this particularly well-known place that there's these such goings on. Does it distract their thoughts from anywhere else? And that's what Tom is sort of referencing there, I guess. You know, Area 51 is the poster boy of you know, UFO stuff like.
Speaking of secret facilities, what do you make of that HAARP shit?
The what, sorry?
HAARP, H-A-A-R-P, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research.
I don't know much about it, I'll be honest with you.
Program.
It sounds like something fucking
Bill Gates was tied up in this, wasn't he?
Say again, sorry?
Bill Gates was tied up in this, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's like just fields of like really weird looking antennas and stuff.
Where the control layered.
Yeah, that's what people say.
Where the control, yeah, apparently, I don't know.
Where the control or population control?
Well, a bit of both, isn't it? But
bit of both.
Bit of column A, bit of column B, like. But I mean, when they're on about like darkening the sun a little bit and shit, I mean that's not too far off from that stuff anyway. You know, in Dubai they do control the weather. They make it rain, literally make it rain in Dubai, like, you know, to get crops and shit, and it is possible. People laugh, but what? All they do is just like speed up the cycle. Obviously, it's not that fucking simple, but it is something that people can do. So actually, it's not that too far out there. Like,
Derek the weatherman be out of a job, son.
Isn't it?
Oh, Derek Brockway be out of a job, he would.
Isn't it something about sending something into the atmosphere to create rain artificially? Isn't it? That's
yeah.
Cloud seeding.
Yeah. Very real. Very real.
Very good and very cheap.
Terrifying, really, if you think about it.
I'm looking at an article here on weather control, weaponized weather from the HAARP, and it's called "A Hard Rain's Gonna Fall," which is a Brian Ferry song. I'm just like, oh man. Or is it a Roxy Music? It's one or the other. Well, you know, it's just like.
Will always be synonymous. Always be synonymous with driving onto the ferry. Whenever I hear Brian Ferry, it's always the image of us driving onto the ferry going to Belgium.
Yeah. Soon as our intro kicks in, it's time for the ferry.
Yeah.
That's a tradition. I could never not board a ferry now without listening to Let's Stick Together. It's not possible. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been a wonderfully enjoyable welcome back to SteegCast with our new series. This has been the UFO episode. I really do hope everyone's enjoyed, and if there is anything we've left out or any further discussions on UFOs, I'm more than happy to have a chat with people on UFOs. Just let us know, and I hope I've done justice to this particular topic. This has been Series 4, Episode 1, the UFO episode, and thank you for joining us.
That out.